Okay, Brother Martin, you were telling me earlier about your story about how you came to find the Christadelphians and learn about our beliefs. And so what was your original religious background?
Okay, my original religious background was Seventh-day Adventist. I was raised in a Seventh-day Adventist home. And I was there. But somehow I became annoyed because almost every time that the brother who was running that church, the minister, he used to quote mostly from Helen G. White's writing rather than from the Bible. So he equates her writings to the Bible, and he would say, according to Sister White, according to Sister White. And I became annoyed. So I began searching, and I read several books about several denominations and so on and so forth. But although I never stopped going, what I was seeking, and at some point in time I was working in Kingston as a bus driver, then with the bus company, and on this particular day I was traveling from uptown to downtown, and there was a young man on the bus preaching. I didn't know his name then, but he came from England. And when we reached downtown, he was giving out some literatures, and I got this one, a copy similar to this, which is my faith. So I actually took it home and I read it, and yes, I like most of what I have read, but the thing about it is, being born a Seventh-day Adventist, I could not see myself changing from that to any other denomination. And so somehow the track, a trifold track, actually got mislaid. But by this time it was placed somehow in the bottom of my wardrobe. Now, about 20 years after, I was looking for a document pertaining to some business, right? And this document I needed to find desperately. So I was searching almost half day from morning until about lunchtime for it. But when it came to about lunchtime, I was kind of exhausted because I looked all over the place. Then I turned to my wardrobe and dug up the wardrobe looking for this document, and just about at the time when I became exhausted, I saw this track pop up before me, and it says my faith. So I just said, you know what, I'm going to be reading this again. So I started, and I read the entire track from cover to cover. And after reading it, I was satisfied with what I read. And I decided to myself that wherever these people are in Jamaica, if they are here, I would try and find them. By this time, I never remember that just about 3 miles from me, I passed by and saw a little building, and there was a sign on it marked the Christadelphians. So one day, a Sunday, I was coming from elsewhere, and it just like a man said to me, make a detour, because normally I would have gone around the regular route, and my wife was with me. So I said to her, you know, I'm going to be going through Free Hill. And she says, what for? The road is rough. And so I said, I am going there because I remember seeing a signboard marked Christadelphians, and I am definitely going to find out who they are, what they believe, and so on. So I drove through, and just about when I was passing the building, I stopped. And I just got out the van, went down there, and meeting were in progress. In fact, they had reached to the memorial meeting, and they were just about breaking bread. So the one sister who lives close by, and she's the sister of the recorded brother, came to the door, and she greeted me and said, hello, what can I do for you? I said, well, I'm passing by and I've seen this sign here, and I need to find out what your beliefs are. She said to me, now is not so much the right time because we are having a memorial meeting now, but I can give you something and you can read about us. So she went and she got a little double-folded thing which marked answering your questions about the Christadelphians. I took it home, I read it. I took it home and I read it. I wasn't so happy with parts of it, but in any case though, for the most part, it was agreeable. But the thought of being an Adventist could not allow for me to see myself grouping with them. So again, I took home that and it was there for some time, but actually I put that in my Bible, so I would see it occasionally. Then it dawned on me that, you know, you should just go and see what they are doing. But I could not go on a Sunday because to me it would have been blasphemous to really go into a group which and fellowship with them who kept Sunday as a sacred day. So, however, I decided that I would go to the Bible study, which actually took place on a Wednesday evening. By this time, I had looked at the signboard, and yes, 7 p.m. was mentioned on it, but that is the time when the sign actually said Bible study from 6 to 7. No, I thought it was 7 to something else, so 1 hour. Anyway, I decided that I would have gone there. So this Wednesday in particular, I went, but I went at about 5 minutes to 7 because I said I want to be early for the start. To my surprise, they were just about dismissing the Bible study. So anyway, I went down and I stood at the door, and there was this young brother from England and his wife who were there for 3 months as missionaries, and I never knew. He came to the door, he greeted me and he said, you know, it is unfortunate that you come at this time because we are about to dismiss. However, I remember the topic he was on was about not murmuring. They did the daily reading and he was elaborating on how they should not murmur like the children of Israel who wanted meat and God gave them more than enough until they ate and it were coming through their nostrils and all of that. However, he said to me, you know something, I have a book I will give to you, and if you will read that book and go through it faithfully, any questions that you have pertaining to the Christadelphians and the Gospels, this book will help you. You only have to read it faithfully. And he says, the name of the book is Bible Basics. And he went and he took a copy and he gave it to me. And he says, okay, we have to be dismissing. And they sung a hymn and prayed, and the Bible study was dismissed. And I left and I took the book. And from I got the book, I never stopped reading it until I finished it. And I read that book over and over and over again. But even though I understood what was there, it was still hard for me to break from my tradition, the tradition of the fathers, being born and bred Seventh-day Adventist. However, I decided that what I would do, I would not go to a Sunday meeting, but I would go to their Bible study. So I decided I brave up myself and I went to that first Bible study. But even while I was there, I was not comfortable because to me it came as if I was involved in interfaith or something like that. So I went home and I stopped going for a while, and then I started again. And Brother Alan here used to be a member of the Free Will meeting at that time, and he would come up for the Bible studies. So we studied I went to the Bible study for about a year, and then he said to me, you have been coming here for almost a year now, and you seem to have an interest. What do you think about what you have been studying, what you have read, what are your beliefs? I said, well, I am convinced that yes, the Christadelphians have the truth, but the one problem I have is with the Sabbath. So he tried to talk to me, but the truth is no one could have convinced me. God himself had to convince me to say that, look, the Sabbath is not to be a burden. And I actually stopped going to the Bible study for some time, but there was this urge on me. Well, I never stopped reading the book. I would go back to the book again and again, and that's Bible basics I'm talking about. And I would go through it on the Sabbath and all of that. And I finally decided my mind, well, you know, I'm going. And so I went back to the Bible study, and after going back to the Bible study, one Wednesday evening, he said to me, how about seeing you next Sunday? And I said, I'm not sure, I don't think so. However, I went to church on Sabbath, and the Sunday morning I got up, to the surprise of my wife. I said, I'm going over there. And she said, you are going? I said, yes. And I went. I was most uncomfortable. But in any case, I enjoyed the warmth and the fellowship then. And ever since, I continued. And then I finally made my decision. And so he arranged an interview. I was interviewed, and a date was set, it was announced, and I was immersed on the 2nd day of December 1997. Yeah.
That's a wonderful story. And now you're a full-time missionary for Williamsburg Christadelphian Foundation. You're a Whitefields worker. And how long have you been a full-time missionary?
Okay, I think it was like about the ending part of 1999, because after realizing that that was my call, I decided that preaching, I would energize myself in preaching. And brethren came along, they saw what I was doing, and they suggested that, you know, we see that you are willing to preach. So they decided they would have helped in some way, and some would send something for me that I could buy fuel and so on. And then finally, maybe about 2001, I started getting some support from the CBM.
So originally it was the CBM.
Yes.
And then eventually you switched over to the WCF,
Yes.
Williamsburg Christadelphian Foundation.
Yes.
So, and I can attest that you're a wonderful brother and are intent on serving the Lord. And you're an inspiration to everyone that you encounter. So,
thank you.
may God continue to bless your work, dear brother Martin.
Yes, my sister. And bless you too.
Thank you so much.
Yes.